I think it's pretty safe to say that when we look at the Star Wars sequel trilogy, there's a lot of fans out there who love or hate the sequel trilogy, especially with The Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi by Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Episode 9 is that we do know that this movie was also controversial as a film to the Star Wars community, but not as bad as The Last Jedi was. That movie really, really kind of just divided the fan base, and just The Rise of Skywalker really was an attempt by Disney in order to reunite the fan base, and now moving forward, that's exactly what they want to do with the future of the Star Wars franchise, everything ranging from their new TV shows on Disney Plus, or their new Star Wars trilogy, and other projects currently in the works as well, in order to really patch things up, and to really reunite the fans once again like how they were before the events of The Force Awakens when it released back in 2015, and the events of when The Last Jedi released back in 2017. Now that The Rise of Skywalker is a thing of the past, we do know that this movie finally hit $1 billion at the box office worldwide. It took quite a long time to get there, over a month specifically, but there's a lot of talk out there that it may not even make over the amount that The Last Jedi made worldwide, which I believe was $1.3 billion if I'm not mistaken. However, one big decision by Disney and Lucasfilm that really does create a light at the end of the tunnel here all has to do with George Lucas and his return for a new Star Wars movie, where it's explained that both Disney and Lucasfilm are currently developing the future of the Star Wars franchise, both on Disney Plus and for their new Star Wars trilogy, where it's noted that Disney CEO Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy have worked closely for the start of the new Star Wars universe that they are developing. However, Bob Iger has been in the talks with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau to make creative decisions for Lucasfilm for this new universe. One of the big plans by Lucasfilm for the future of the franchise is to get George Lucas involved in some way, shape, or form of a new Star Wars movie that they are currently developing right now, and that they are bringing George Lucas back in for the first film of the new trilogy, which is due to release in the near future. Now, it's explained that George Lucas coming back to the Star Wars universe was a choice made by Disney CEO Bob Iger, and that Lucas will now have a say in the matter of specific creative decisions about some of the choices made for the new Star Wars movie that is currently dubbed as Star Wars X. It's said that Disney and Lucasfilm will be working closely with George Lucas for the first film of the new trilogy, starting in March of this year, and that he will be overlooking the pre-production phase, as well as principal photography and post-production, and will have the power to make choices for the new Star Wars movie, as well as Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, for the new Star Wars trilogy that will take fans into a brand new mythology of Star Wars and more. Now, this decision made by Bob Iger was to make an authentic Star Wars film that will have no creative choices made by Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy. Now, this is really a step in the right direction by Disney and Lucasfilm. There's no denying that. This really is a good decision by Disney in order to really give us an authentic Star Wars movie. Obviously, I am very, very happy about what they are doing with the Star Wars universe so far moving forward, especially with The Mandalorian, Season 1 and Season 2, the Kenobi TV series. The Cassian Andor series, I think, is pointless in my opinion. That's just how I feel as a fan. But moving on forward from that, the thing that really does interest me the most here is that George Lucas will have a say in the matter of specific creative choices of Star Wars X, which, by the way, is the first film of the new trilogy. Now, this new Star Wars movie that George Lucas is coming back into is going to be a very important film because, let's face it, they are starting from scratch. They are not going to rely on nostalgia. They're not going to rely on the Skywalkers, per se. This really is going to be something brand new, and there's been a lot of talk out there that it's going to be set 400 years before the events of The Phantom Menace, for starters, in the High Republic era. And they're going to move throughout different eras with each and every Star Wars film of this new trilogy. There's been a lot of discussions between Disney and Lucasfilm about the idea of them going backward with each and every Star Wars film, eventually over to the Old Republic era, and even bringing the Old Republic over to Disney Plus in some way. So that's really exciting to me, what George Lucas is now allowed to do, along with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, and how they're all going to have a say in the matter of creative decisions of this new Star Wars movie, and how they're going to be on board of all of this. Now, you guys may have heard that Kathleen Kennedy no longer has creative choices of these new Star Wars projects. Again, this is a light at the end of the tunnel. This is exactly what should have been done with The Rise of Skywalker. I think it's one of the main reasons as to why this movie was really rushed, is because she initiated some of the reshoots for this movie. You know, she initiated some of the rewrites of The Rise of Skywalker and what needed to be done. And so when we look at, you know, the future, I think it's looking brighter, to be honest, because we're not really hanging on to the Skywalkers. We are now looking over to something new. We're looking over to a new mythology and a new vision by Disney and Lucasfilm, and exactly what they're going to do with that and how George is going to be attached to all of this as well is something to be very excited about. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.